Welcome back, everyone. Today is the day one of my .NET Dev journey. Just like I said in the first video, the introduction video, that this journey is to develop myself and ensure that I have the employable skill needed by the end of the third month. And the third month should be probably March. So between now and March, I want to develop myself from a beginner to a professional .NET developer that is employable. So today is the first day, and I'm so excited to share with you what I have learned and what I know so far. So we get on it, and the first thing we need to do is um to install the tools that are needed for this training. So we need to install the .NET SDK, and to do that we go to the .NET web page here, and here we can see the versions here. The latest version is the .NET 10.0 version, which was released this last year December, as December 9, as you can see right here. So that is the latest version, and once that has been installed, then we also need to install Visual Studio Code, and this is a tool that will help us to, write. Is an IDE that helps us to write our C# codes. Don't forget, I said in the first video that we'll be sticking with C# for this training and development. So once this is downloaded, I'm working with a Windows PC, so that's why I'm going to be downloading the VS Code version for Windows OS. And once that is done and it is installed, you just need to follow the instructions on how to install the application, which is the VS Code. So once that is done, to know that the .NET SDK has been properly installed. So to test that, you can just go to your CMD and put .NET, type .NET, then version, and here you can see I'm running I'm running .NET 9.0 as it were. So with that done, yes, I know I now have .NET installed, and then I can also open my VS Code to launch the application. And as you can see, the application is now launched. So I'll just close all this. This is me just trying to, some of the trainings that that I've done so far. So here I'm going to be opening a new um this is just the Visual Studio Code environment, and yes, there might need to be a kind of we need to also do um to install a C# dev kit extension. So to do that, we come to these extensions here, and we can just put, you can see I've done that. I've installed my C Sharp Dev Kit. So what this does is it helps us to write C Sharp code. It enables the VS Code IDE that we have installed to support C Sharp code. So once this is installed, we'll be able to write our C Sharp code. And yes, that is just basically it. So we can see that it's nothing much, just the .NET SDK, and as well as the VS Code, which we'll also need to install the C Sharp Dev Kit extension on. So that's just basically the tool we need. And now we can get going. So what's the next thing we need to do? So what's, yeah, it is time for me to now start personalizing this and giving feedback on what I've learned so that you can, do same. So I've learned that what programming really is, and programming simply means giving instructions to the computer so as to solve a particular problem. So we look at maybe real world examples, like problems that we can, that we can see, problems that we can observe, and things like that. And then we translate them into codes. And these codes are written as instructions to the computer in order to solve these problems. And one thing I also get to learn is that computers or machines are very fast, but they are dumb. They are very fast, but they are dumb, including the AI, applications or systems we now have these days. They were not like that originally. So, but a programmer is slow but smart. So anything we see a computer do is as a result of a programmer who programmers work. So they are just basically um, uh, the handwork of a programmer. So without a programmer, then a computer cannot function smartly. Though they are fast, but they are dumb, but a programmer is slow and smart. So which is why a programmer needs to translate whatever thoughts or ideas they have into a code and instruct the computer so the computer can take it up from there, add its speed, and make the whole idea realistic and fast. Yeah, with that um said, it is time to, yeah, one thing I would like to speak on is in this journey, as we go on this journey together, please, it is very important to know that memorizing codes is not advisable. It is very, very important to know that code memorization is not good for a programmer, but rather understanding the basic logic. That is the major goal, because once the basic logic is understood, then everything becomes easy and easier. So, with that being said, we'll be going to um like writing our first program. So this is what I would do. I've opened up a folder which we can also do. So here is my folder. Excuse me. So I have my folder here in my desktop. You can see C sharp training, and you can see week one here. So you can do. same, just to track, your to track your progress. And as you can see, I'm on week 1, and after week 1, I open another folder for week 2, for week 3, for week 4, like that, until we achieve the main goal. So, without any further ado, let's quickly um, run our first C# program. And here, I would like to open a new folder. Just so I'm naming this folder test folder. So here I go to the CMD. I want to create a new console app inside the test folder. So what I do is I navigate into the test folder. So, and inside the test folder, I want to create a new console um, application or new console project. So, .NET new console. That's a new console application. Then, what name will I like to give to it? Let me say first program, or should I say day 1? Okay, day 1. So we can see it has been created successfully. So I need to navigate into, because the day 1 is also going to be like a folder where all the programs, all the codes will be kept. So for us to go into this project, I need to navigate into the day 1 folder. And to do that on Windows is just typing cd, then the name, day 1, we are in it. So here to open this in the VS Code, all I need to do is type code dot, and here we go. So now the new project has been opened, and here we can see on the screen I have the program CS. This is the solution. This is like yeah, this is just the fold. So let me go into the folder so that we can see what's there. You can see this is the test. I created a new console application inside this test folder. So opening the test folder, you can see this is my application here, day 1. Then opening the day 1, we can see all that we have here in my VS Code is the same thing we have here in the day 1 folder. So now we can move ahead. So here we can see this is a comment. This, to comment anything, we just have to put this double slash and it's commented out. So let me just remove the comment here. So we can see Console.WriteLine hello world. So here is an entry point for this application. This is the entry point. This is where the program starts from. This is where the application is being accessed from. It is the entry point. And as you can see, the only thing we have on the screen is Console.WriteLine. And what this does is it tells the system to write this out on the screen. And for us to execute this, let's just run the program and see what it does. So I can use this place to say start debugging, or I can go ahead and build the project first before I run the application. But let's just go with start debugging. Oh, okay. Let's go with something else. The sorry, yeah. The shortcut to bring up the terminal, though you can bring up the terminal from here, new terminal, and then you run your stuff here. So for me to run this application, I just want to use the terminal so you can see um what I'm doing. So .NET run to run the application, and let's see what's going to happen. So this is taking this long to execute because it's the first time I'm running the application, but I think it's taking too long now. Okay, yeah, we can see it has given us an output hello world on the screen. So this simple program is just to print hello world on the screen. And here, this console is gotten from a library called system. So for some of us, maybe in some of the tutorials you've seen online, or maybe in the any C sharp or .NET material that we might have gone through or seen before. Sometimes you see something like using system. So this using system is a library, and the library also contains the console, um, the console, which is like a class of its own. But I wouldn't go deep into that because, as you know, I'm also just learning at the same time. Yeah. So now we, I know we've seen things like naming system. We have a namespace. For example, a namespace just is like the assembly itself. For instance, this is day one is a project. So I can have, let's say, namespace day one. So this namespace is just telling me that this is an assembly on its own. This is a complete package, and it is um restricted to this day one. Everything inside is like when you have a container. So day one is like okay, let me use this analogy. For instance, you want to go on an holiday and you're packing your box. So in your box, you have your undies, you have your toothpaste, you have your toothbrush, you have whatever it is you need, and you pack everything, you arrange them inside the box. So the box is like a namespace. So inside the box, you now have your different items like your clothes, your undies, your toothbrush, your face wash, and all the like. So that is what this namespace is also signifying, like a container as an assembly that contains everything that is needed for the program or the application to run. So here we are putting it in a namespace. Then we have class program. So this class, what the class means is that um the simple explanation I'll give to you is class is a concept of the object-oriented programming, which we'll be dealing with later on as we go on this journey. But what we should stick with for now is to know that every C# program is arranged in a class, is organized in a class. So we should just hold that to our memory, let that stick to our mind, because later on in this journey, we will get to understand what class really means as a concept of the object-oriented programming. And then we have the static void, sorry, static void. So then we have the Console.WriteLine hello world. So this, all this that I've written here is just the same thing as when we add just this line of code. It's just the same as this. And what happens is that these versions of the latest versions of .NET we have now has removed the use of, not removing totally, but created a means that we really don't have to explicitly, write the structure of the code just like the way I did now. Like, we don't have to explicitly do this because this is a stop statement, especially the static void main is a stop statement. When, like I said earlier, I said the static void main is the entry point. This main is the entry point into this application. So for every application, there is always an entry point, and this serves as our entry point. But the latest .NET now has made it simple that it does not have to be stated explicitly. So in as much as we did not write the structure, we are just going with this simple line of code. Internally, .NET has wrapped this inside the top statement. Internally, there is a stop statement wrapped around this, but .NET is doing it implicitly instead of explicitly. But for our own understanding, for for better organization and for proper tracking, we can do the explicit um, writing of the top statements so that our program can then be like this. So I hope my point is clear now. So, and yeah, sorry, this should not be there. Yeah. So yeah, we have this like that. Even you can see I've removed the using system. It's not necessary as it were because the latest .NET still understands it. But you can use it if you want. We're going to let you know that it's redundant. Like, you really don't necessarily need um to do that. So now I will leave us with this challenge. Why do we think we need an entry point in a program, like in an application like this? Why do we think we need an entry point? I will be taking our comments below. So just write your comments. You can give answer to that. But I'm going to be answering, giving the my own answer, what I think in the next video. So yeah, that being said, let's quickly move down to variable because To be a programmer, to write an application, then we cannot do away with variables because we need a container, something to hold whatever data or information we want to store. Because for every application, they make use of information or data, they process this data, and they give output. So every computer does that, and there is a need to hold this data, and that's where variables comes in. So variable is just like a labeled box or container in memory that helps to hold data. So let's think of it this way. Let's assume we have a cupboard, and the cupboard has set of drawers. And for each of those drawers, there is a label on, maybe let's say we have 5 drawers in that cupboard. And we want to label each drawer. Maybe the first drawer is labeled plates or dishes. The second drawer is labeled spoons. The third drawer is labeled knives. The fourth drawer is labeled uh, kitchen towel, and the last drawer is labeled dishwashers. So we know that just looking at the label, we know the item to place in each drawer. For the top drawer that's labeled dishes, we know that we need to only store dishes in that drawer. So that's what variable helps to serve in any programming language. And in C sharp, we are going to be discussing the most commonly used variable. And yes, we'll just do that. We have the integer variable, which is written as int. So we can see int age, for instance. That's an example. Then we have another variable we have is the double amount, for instance. So we can say 50 um pounds 75p. Then we also have character. So character, yeah, let's use grade, for instance. And the reason why we are using grade is, we have for grade, we have grade A, grade B, grade C, and the like. So what character does is character is a variable that helps a data type rather. A data type. These are data types. We have the integer data types, the double data type, the character data type, and this helps to hold specific values. So the integer data type helps to hold integer values that is stored in the age variable. So this age is a variable that helps to hold the value of an integer data type. This amount here is a variable that helps to hold the value of this double data type. Then the grade is a variable name that helps to hold the value of this character data type. And the value here is A. So what does character means? Character is just a single character. For instance, we wrote A now. It could be 8, it could be 0, and anything, but it should be a single character. Then we have the excuse me, we have the string data type. So I use string name. My name is, so for the string we have a double quote. For the character we have just single quote. For string we have double quote. So Jacob, as you can see here, for the string we have a combination of characters. You can see JACOB, that's like 5 characters, but for which makes up a string. But for the character, we can only just have one. So we also have the Boolean, which is bool ready. Okay, let's say bool ready. Are you ready? It could be true or it could be false. It could be true or it could be false. So here we have it. And now we can as well just instruct the computer to, give us an output, write this out on the screen for us. And we can just do console to write out things. We have console.WriteLine. Then WriteLine is a method under the console class that belongs to the system library. So we have here, we can say, sorry, there needs to be a double quote in it. My age is. So we can do this, we can do it this way, or we can use string interpolation to write this. And if I'm to use string interpolation for this, all I just need to do is console.WriteLine. I do this, then my double quotes. So my age is, then a curly brackets, and then age. Then I close this, and that's it. So this first line here and this second line would do the same thing, would give me the outputs in the same way. Let's try that and see. Let me save my code and run this. Oh, there's a warning. And the warning is okay, it's just letting me know that there are some variables that I declared here but that I never used. As we can see, the variable amount is assigned but its value is never used, so it's just giving me a warning. But here's the output. We can see my age is 25, my age is 25. The same format but different way of doing it. So the second way is called um string interpolation. So, but let's just stick with the first way. So now I can just copy this and format it. My age is this, um, the amount or the pen costs, costs, then months. So let's assume I bought the pen and I'm trying to say what the cost of the pen is. Then grade, I'm going to change this to academic grade is grade. Then the next one, okay, my name is Jacob. So we are putting the variable names in here. Then my name is Jacob, okay. And I want to ask myself, am I ready for this journey? Am I ready? So sorry for this journey. So, and I'm putting ready in here. So my answer should be true. So I can either use true or false, but I need to be ready, so I'm using true. Oh, let me try this. Can I use capital letter? Oh, it's not accepting this. So it has to be true this way. So you see, I'm also learning as well. So, and we can just play around these things to see how it really works, what it can accept and what it won't accept. And one thing I love this C Sharp Dev Kit extension for is it helps to highlight it helps to reduce errors as we write the code. Um, so if the syntax or whatever we are trying to do is not correct, we'll see um, the lines underneath, the squiggly lines under it, just to show us that there is an issue with the code we are writing. So we can look into it and then correct it before we go ahead. So with this done now, I'm going to save and then we'll rerun this. So .NET run and let's see what will happen. So as we can see here, there is no more warning because all the variables we declared has been used, the values has been used. So here, this is the output. Here we declared variables storing different data type and we display the output here on the screen. So this is just what the program here does. Declared variables and then we outputted those variables, the values stored in those variables here on the screen. So I hope we are enjoying this gradually and yeah, it's going to be a long journey, but yes, we are going to get there. So the next thing we'll do now is we'll try and see how to get input from the user. You know, in this example, we declared the variable and we assigned um, data into those variables. But in the next step now, we want to ensure or try to see if we can get data from the user. So to allow the user to be the one to enter the data, for instance, as we declared integer age right here, and we assign 25 as the value, we are not supposed to, what we want to do now is not to assign this value directly, but to prompt the user to be the one to enter the value into the system. I don't know if you understand my point, but we are going to do that now and see how that is achievable. Note and notice this: in order to output um or print out information on the screen, we made use of Console.WriteLine, but we are also going to be using another method of the console class to take the input from the user, and the method we'll be using is read line. Here we have write line to give the output, then we'll be using read line to take the input. So, and here is what we will be doing. So, for instance, let's start with name. So, cleaned up all this. So I can say, don't forget we've learned data types, and there is a reason why data types is necessary. In fact, let me put out this challenge out there. Why do we think that data types are necessary? And why do we think it is also important to know the range of each of these data types? Kindly put your answer in the comment section, and in the next um, video I'll be making, I would provide my own answer. I will speak on what I think, or the reason I think data types is needed, and the reason why the range is to be known before using any data type. Thank you. So let's proceed with writing a program that will allow the user to enter the information by themselves, or the data by themselves. So here I want the data to enter their name. And to enter their name, I need a variable to hold that data. And we need to also understand what type of data, or what type of data type will that information need. So if I'm entering my name, I know that the user's name cannot be an integer value. It cannot be a character, because it is um like uh, 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 it is going to be more than one character, like a text. So we can't just use character, because character can only hold the char data type can only hold one character. But for this case, no one can have just a single character as their name. So we know we are dealing with more than one character here. And the best data type that can handle that is the string data type, which takes text value. So we know we are declaring a variable of a string data type. And to do that, write string, we want to have the name of the user. So to do that, we can just do string name here. So that is all we are doing. We are declaring the name, because we have not assigned value to the name. So excuse me, please. So in order to mm, in order to prompt the user to enter their name, then we can write out on the screen and say console dot write line. We can say kindly enter your name. Don't forget, I'm also learning and we are learning together. So, yeah. So now we are telling the user, printing on the screen, that kindly enter your name. So what the user sees on the screen is kindly enter your name, and it prompts the user to enter their name. So, and the next thing to do is to, once the user enters the name, to read whatever the user has typed on the screen, read it in and save it into the name variable. So we are doing name is equals, and don't forget, I said we are going to be making use of the read line. So console read line, and that is it. That is it. So we have a squiggly line underneath here. Let's see what this is saying. It's saying converting null literal or possible null value to nullable type. So this here we need to understand when we see things like this, need to understand what message or information is trying to pass across. So here it's telling us that it is possible for us to have a null value here. Null value means that if the user is not entering any value, anything at all, how do we treat that? And we've already declared that the variable is to hold a non-nullable value, which means that the user must enter something. It cannot be empty. So that is why we are having this warning here. This is a warning because it is in, yellow. The squiggly line is yellow, not red. If it were to be red, and we know that's an outright error. But this is just telling us, informing us of some of the problem that could come up. And we can see, let's read these returns here. It's saying the next line of characters from the input stream are null if no more lines are available. So if nothing is entered, it's going to be null. And these are some of the exceptions that can happen. We can have the input output exception, out of memory exception, argument out of range exception. Yeah, we won't focus on this. I believe as we get along in this journey, we would, be able to understand what exceptions really mean, but we are not going to be focusing on that. So in order to solve this problem, probably I can just put, this is the nullable um, sign or reference here, letting us know that this variable can also take a null value. But since we don't want a null value, we can leave it at this. Get to see the things we can do in order to ensure that we don't have these warning signs here, to ensure that the user enters their name and not just leave it empty. So let's assume the user has entered their name and we want to display whatever the user has um, entered back on the screen. So we are saying Console.WriteLine, then double quotes, don't forget. Let's say my name is the name is plus name plus and I am learning C sharp. So we have this here. You can see we use double quotes here plus the name because we can't put this variable inside the quotes. If we do that, then it's not going to identify this as a variable. It's just going to see this as a normal text. And then we continue um, the message from here. But it will be best to use the string interpolation I did earlier. So let's just make use of that here. So I remove this, I remove the plus sign, I use the curly brackets here, here, and that's it. So this is better instead of putting the addition signs like that. That is I switched from using string concatenation to string interpolation. So this is interpolation. The one I changed from is usually called um string concatenation. That's we are concatenating strings using the plus sign. So let's run this code and see what will happen. Don't forget we are learning together. I'm also learning this with you. So let's see what happens here. Oh, the warning. Okay. Now don't forget the warning we had here that we read. That's what is just passing out here. Because if we look at this, it's saying this error or this warning is coming from line 12 and the 20th maybe character or so, but it's line 12 and this is line 12 as we can see. So this is where the warning is coming from. But here is saying enter your name. So let me enter my name. Jacob Follow. So it's saying my name is Jacob Folonshaw and I am learning C sharp. This is exciting. This is fun. So, and gradually, this is how we learn, you know, C sharp. The reason why we learn C sharp because it is a language that is needed for us to learn the .NET. So we are starting from learning the language that will enable us to write a .NET application or build a .NET application. And without the language, we won't be able to communicate to .NET framework and um build the application we would love to build. So we have to learn the language to be able to build an application in .NET. So that's why we are starting with learning C sharp, which is the language that we need for communication in .NET. I hope that makes sense. So here today we've been able to learn write our first program. We understand what top level statements means. We understand why we need to why there is need for us to have an entry point, which is the main um which is the main method of the program, and you can see it resides here in the program class, and here we have the entry point. So I pose a challenge to you. Tell me the reason why an entry point is needed, and let me also know why uh, we need the importance of having to use data type. Why can't we just use string, for example, just stick to only string? Why do we have to have different data types like the int, double, float, bool, and things like that? We also have different data types, but we only treated the most commonly used data type. And I believe that as we get along in the course of this journey, we will understand the other data type if they are necessary for us to use them. But these are the major data types that we'll be using maybe almost throughout the course of this journey. And also, why or what's the importance of knowing the range of these data types before using them or before sticking or making them our choice in any application we are trying to develop. So these are the three challenges. Please comment your answers in the comment section below. And in the next video, I'm going to be sharing my own thoughts and giving my own answers as to why the entry point is needed, as to why data types are necessary and important, and as to why we need to know the range of these data types. Thank you very much. I can assure you that this journey will not be boring, and don't forget to practice on your own, because the more you practice, the better you become. Please, another reminder, ensure that you don't memorize codes. What we are trying to do is to ensure that we understand the basic logic of writing codes, of writing programs, building applications. What are the basic logic? That is what we are trying to understand, because this would help us to understand even complex things that we are going to be meeting up with in the course of this journey. Thank you, and see you in the next video.